In today's video, I'm going to be covering Chiliz from a daily and weekly perspective timeframes. The ticker symbol is CHZ USD, in case you don't have that written down. I want to start out with a weekly chart. I always like to look at the big picture just to see where price is relative to from a multi-year perspective. In this case, we have data going back to 2019, which is a relatively limited amount of data. You'll see here in February of 2021, this year, we traveled over almost 3,000% from the breakout here. Now, it's only natural that a cryptocurrency or any instrument for that matter is going to go through a corrective process, and that's what we saw going into May. However, the May crash, which worked out to be a 51% decline that particular week that included May 19th and the 23rd, resolved into what has become a symmetrical triangle pattern. Two things that stand out about the symmetrical triangle pattern is that it has occurred above the 50-week simple moving average, which is important. What I've seen in other cryptocurrencies where it actually these patterns have resolved below the 50-week, therefore creating a new level of resistance. Whereas in this case, if we do at the end of the day resolve from the symmetrical triangle and take out the June 22nd low and take out the May low, we're going to find support at a strategically important moving average. Also, you'll note here I've marked the measured move of the symmetrical triangle, which is about 65%. On the upside, we're looking for a target of spot 474, and on the downside, spot 065. See on the downside, that would take out the February 15th week high and really put Chiliz in a situation where it might have further catastrophic outcomes. On the upside, you'll see that there is a layer of resistance that goes back into April that runs across through the lows of May, and then once again it comes into play at the beginning of June. Clearly, any breakout from the symmetrical triangle is going to struggle with that resistance. So let's turn to the daily chart to zoom in a little bit on the pattern. Here we see today we're getting a rebound, although some of the gain has been lost as the day has progressed. But if initiative builds behind the move, it's going to strike support immediately at the 50-day moving average at spot 256, and then followed by the 200-day simple moving average at spot 273, which runs into the upper trend line of the symmetrical triangle. So that's going to be prominent support, resistance moving forward. There you can see the resistance that I talked about extending back through April, going through May, and then into June, before we can rise the full 65%. On the downside, really key is if it can hold below or above the June 22nd low, and if not, if it can hold the May lows that we saw here, whether it's May 19th low at spots 163 or the May 23rd low at spot 164. So you can see right now we're still in a symmetrical triangle. It hasn't resolved, so we don't have a clear directional bias for Chiliz. If we do break out, resolve to the upside, we're going to find resistance between spot 341 and spot 391 before we can march to the measured move target of spot 474. On the downside, as we resolve, obviously the June low comes into play, and then the May lows, and then there's really no support below the May lows until you get down to the February high over here. And it probably is a high probability that you will achieve the 65% decline. However, I don't see that happening. It doesn't look like the outcome that this pattern is developing, particularly in correspondence with what the bullish setup that we're seeing in Bitcoin and some of the other major cryptocurrencies. So the idea with Chiliz right now is to be patient and wait for the resolution of the symmetrical triangle, and have your position set to enter when it triggers. Thank you.